Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad you're here this Friday morning. Got a great show lined up, a couple of special guests here in the studio, plus the famous Friday fishing report, all coming up. So let's get ready to start with our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center. And go by and see those folks at Haney and Principal Mike Heppenstall, the whole staff there. Really good folks, and they'll be glad to help you out in any of your future endeavors. Now, weather-wise, we're looking at springtime, early summer weather. We're looking at a high today of 74 degrees. Low tonight, 63. I mean, it's just a pleasant day. You know, there's a lot of humidity in the air, but this weekend looks like a great time to be outdoors. If you're hunting, fishing, hiking, kayaking, or boating, or whatever you're doing, it'll be a great time to get outdoors. Water temperature is at 61 degrees now. It's dropped. On January 1st, it was 64 degrees, so it's dropped 3 degrees in the first 11 days of January. So we've had a pretty good drop with the water temperature. The river readings, taking a look at the river readings, the Apalachicola is at 0.5, but the Choctawhatchee at Caryville, it is really shooting up. I mean, look, this weekend we're looking at it's getting up to 7'4". It's at 4.8 now, but it's going to really jump in the morning and Saturday during the day. It's going to really be rising. If you're out on the river Saturday, it's going to be a really fast rise. So I had a lot of rain up in South Alabama. Okay, and our tides this morning, again, the whole week has been really strong tides, and this weekend we finish up with strong tides. Today's the 11th, and we're looking at a low tide this morning at 6:46 and a high tide at 8:48. So we're going to have some really strong tides. Next week will be some neat tides. Won't be a lot of flow, but this weekend will be some really strong tides. Give a big shout out to Seaquarters Marina every Friday morning. Miller, Nixon, and staff down there are really strong supporters down in Caryville. We certainly appreciate everything they do. So let's go ahead and take our first break, and we'll be right back. And welcome back, and welcome to our special guests, Barbara Gulgel and Todd Williams. Good to have you all this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you, Winston.
Especially getting up this early, huh?
No problem. Thanks for having us.
And plus, I had a very brief notice. I think I gave them about a 24-hour notice when I found out y'all were going to come on the show. But appreciate y'all coming on. Let's tell the folks what we're doing here. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what we're doing, okay?
Okay.
So, Barbara?
I'm Barbara Gudgel, and I represent the Friends of Crooked Creek.
Okay.
And we're a group of about 150 people, citizens of Bay County, that are opposed to a boat ramp on Crooked Creek.
Okay. All right. Todd?
I'm Todd Williams. I'm a lifelong fisherman here in Bay County, and it's one of the places that I like to go kayak fish, and just wanting to voice opinions on that. And
Todd's wife, Jeannie, teaches at Bozeman. Used to be teaching with us at Mosley, and his two daughters both graduated from Mosley, and great young ladies.
Yep.
Great young ladies,
Thank you.
They're doing well. So tell us about, first of all, let's look at, you brought us a map right now. Let's tell the folks the area we're looking at right here. Mm-hmm. Barbara, go ahead and tell us, we're on the west side of Crooked Creek, and that's 7.2 acres.
This proposed boat ramp is off of Tai Road, and Tai Road is off of CR 388. And you can see here it's approximately 7.2 plus or minus 7.5 acres that St. Joe Land Company, they transferred the deed to the county in December.
Okay. Now, we're going to show, we've all fished West Bay, let's say a lifelong fisherman here in West Bay and Burnt Mill Creek and different boat landings and all. If we didn't have a boat landing there, it'd be a different story, but we've got a lot of boat landings on West Bay as far as we're concerned. Mm-hmm. So what we're looking at is the area itself. We're going to show some pictures. It's really a high bluff area, and they don't make these high bluff areas anymore. And so let's take a look at this picture here. Tell us what this one is. We're looking down.
This right here is the bluff sitting where the initial plans are for the boat ramp.
Okay.
And that bluff actually sits a good 25 feet above water level in a short distance. So it's a very steep incline up the bluff to where the water is.
So there's going to be some major construction there. Now this is another picture. Now we're looking up from the water, I believe, on this one here. Looking up from the water up the hill. So that's pretty steep right there. And we're showing you this for a special reason we'll get to in a second, okay? And then than this third shot here. It's a beautiful natural area up there. Okay. Now, you were telling me about the inclination and all.
Right.
Okay, tell us about that.
So when you have when you want to put a boat ramp on a 25-foot bluff, you're talking at a 12% slope, which is what is recommended for a boat ramp. You're talking 212-foot long ramp.
Okay. And this is the state recommended
This is
guidelines.
the guidelines behind the boating regulations.
So what you say, you're going to have to go 212 feet in there. So, and the biggest thing, what's the need for a boat ramp in that area? Why do you think we need one there?
Well, what we need there is a kayak, canoe, paddleboard launch is what we need there, because we already have, as Todd said, we already have two places for boaters to launch, Burnt Mill Creek and Buchanan Bridge. Now, the West Bay Sector Plan, which I know we're going to talk about, but the West Bay Sector Plan does show more access for West Bay.
Okay.
But it's better to put a boat launch on at the mouth of the bay, not on a 25-foot bluff.
Yeah, okay. Let's take a look at if we got this West Bay Sector Plan now. Now, what Barbara's talking about, we go ahead. I'm going to point out, of course, here's Crooked Creek right here. Now, we have a ramp over here at
Burnt Mill
Burnt
Creek.
Mill, and I use this one a lot. When I want to go fish Crooked Creek, it makes a lot of sense to me. I'll put in here and run over here, okay? I know I have a friend, Bill Allen, puts in down here and comes across. And a lot of folks put in here at Buchanan Bridge. It's no piece right in here, okay? So we've got three really good access points. But now, Barbara, these little spots right here, these little stars right here, tell us about these.
Right. So when the West Bay Sector Plan was put together in 2000, when the process was started in 2001, they came up with these access points that you're pointing to that are for public access to the bay. So there are, as you see, quite a few public access points to that bay in the West Bay Sector Plan for the future of that area.
So what we could do, we could still have, great locations for putting your boat in, even closer than we are now, and still the best of both worlds. We still have a place for our canoers and our kayakers, and still could go in up there. So that makes a lot of sense to me.
And if you go back to that original picture, Winston, I mean, you look at it, they call it Crooked Creek for a reason. Yeah. That ramp is going to be north of Highway 388, and if you look at coming down that creek the whole way to the mouth, it's almost shorter distance to go from the other boat ramps to get to the mouth of that creek. Well, that's
true. You're going back and forth like that. You're exactly right. It is. Okay, listen, we're going to take our next break, and we're going to come right back with our special guest. Okay, welcome back. Sitting here with Barbara and Todd, and we're talking about the new proposed boat ramp on on Crooked Creek, because we have one on Burnt Mill Creek, and it could use a little bit of work too. But that's been a very handy way to get into West Bay is out of Burnt Mill Creek. So first though, let's look at some pictures. Viewers, y'all have sent me a lot of pictures. I won't be able to get through all of them today, but let's look at a couple of them right now. Ben Burnham sent me a picture. Ben Jr., I started to write, email Ben back and say I started talking about Little Ben, but he's not Little Ben anymore. That is a nice 10-point buck. He got Saturday morning. He shot at 150 yards. That's a good job, Ben, and I know all your classmates are proud of you right there. Now we're going to move over a couple of other pictures. Let's see. Nick Johnson caught and released this big 6-pound speckled trout right there. Good job, Nick. Okay, we're going to get through. We're going to talk about this family later. They're special. Gloria Turner caught it. That is a nice speckled trout out of the creek. Excellent. That was a 5-pound, 2-ounce speckled trout, and you see the plug out of the mouth right there. It looks like an artificial shrimp. Appreciate you seeing that. Okay, let's get on past this and tell us about this picture right here.
Well, this here is at the kayak fishing at the mouth of Crooked Creek, and it is a beautiful estuary. It's real great for fishing, both trout and redfish, and there's a lot of people that come in there from numerous locations just to kayak or paddleboard fish.
Now tell us about this young man.
This young man here, that is my son-in-law. He's married to my youngest daughter, and had him out doing some wade fishing there on Crooked Creek this past summer, and he did a real good job fishing topwater with trout. He caught about 20 trout that size.
Well, you bring them into the family the right way right there. And folks, I know you're going to notice that skitterwalk hanging out of the mouth too. That's our favorite color we talk about. And
just more kayak fishing out the mouth. And you can see it's really nice for kayak fishers This is looking out of the mouth of the creek, and you can notice behind me that, you know, the absence of motorboats and everything else at that location. So real nice for unmotorized vehicles.
And the final picture, tell us about this one.
This is last weekend in the creek up near where they're proposing the boat ramp, just kind of showing you how wide some of the parts of the creek are up there. If you want to kayak and boat, it's probably not conducive to doing both. So.
You know, when teaching outdoor ed, I teach our seniors and all. We talk a lot about conservation and a lot about taking care, and we're not against development by all means, but we're for, you know, smart conservation. And I've been in that creek a long time, in and out, and when you got boats coming in it back and forth, it takes away a little bit of that natural beauty. And you know, people that use it now, you can ease up in there if you want to. But when you have that constant traffic, it's just different. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So how do you feel about that?
Well, I do too, and it's also, like I said, it's a crooked creek, so there's a lot of blind corners on it. If you are kayak fishing, you are paddle boarding up that creek, which a lot of people like to because there are so few boats in that creek, then you know, it's going to lead to potential problems. It's one of the last estuaries really in Bay County that's untouched, and it's beautiful. I mean, you take that and Crooked Island Sound, the only two places, in my opinion, that have not been touched by anybody but God, you know, and pretty much left alone.
You're exactly right. And you know, it's not that we have access. We have plenty of access. It's not that we don't have access. If we didn't have access to that place, that was the only place to get in there, you know, we'd be jumping on the bandwagon 100%, so we could all get in there. But we can all get in there now. And you know,
and who needs the access, Winston, is the paddleboarders and the kayakers and the canoers, because they're not going to want to launch at Buchanan Bridge or Burnt Mill Creek and go all the way to there.
And that's a safety factor too. You know, we got, you know, big strong south wind coming in, and you know, getting the waves stirred up. You don't want young people out there and all getting in trouble, and they can use that creek as a protective area. That's a good point there. Now, tomorrow, Saturday, you're going to be, tell us what you're going to do.
Saturday at 10 o'clock, Tai Road and County Road 388. We're going to take people back and show them where the proposed boat ramp is. Okay. And we really encourage everyone to come out and see, because you will be amazed where they think they want to put a boat ramp.
Okay. And again, we'll go back to what we said earlier, too, about the inclination and all. You're going to have to really dig out a lot of stuff, and that's going to cause it.
The cost factors will be huge compared to if they put it at the mouth of West Bay where it should be. Of course, when you're putting a boat ramp on level ground or close to level ground, your costs are minimal compared to on a 25-foot buff. The costs go, and the Boater Improvement Fund, where they're getting a lot of the money to do this, is $348,000. They would use every penny from that fund on this ramp, plus the impact fee fund is $1.8 million. So they would use a huge chunk of that also, if not all of it. So then in 2013, none of the other ramps get repaired. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, speaking of that, you know, one of the most popular boat ramps there is the Cargray Park, and it is in just terrible shape. I know Bill Allen and I talk about it a lot, and it's a great central location for tourists and for locals that launch at Cargray Park. They could take some of that $340,000 at Boater Improvement Fund and really make that. I mean, it's in bad shape now. If you've launched out lately, I mean, it just drops right off after you launch your boat. It's almost at a dangerous stage. So I think our priorities need to be rearranged when it comes to boat improvement at the ramps.
And we'd like the commissioners to give us public workshop hearings on this, to let the public come out and voice their opinion of what those public hearings were promised. They have not happened. Let the public come out and voice the opinion to the commissioners of what they'd like to see there and what they think how the funds should be spent.
Yeah. I think, again, getting back to the conclusion, the bottom line is it's a beautiful area that we're going to put concrete back in. And then when you put, not back in, going to put it in for the first time, but when you have a 200-foot inclination, that's a lot of erosion. That's a lot of water washing down into the creek system. And just, you know, environmentally, that's just not logical. It's not responsible. So that's the way I look at it, you know, as an outdoorsman. So we appreciate the effort, all of the effort y'all have been putting into. I know everybody's busy this day and time doing all kinds of different things, but every now and then we got to just stop and take charge of something and help out. So we appreciate y'all doing that.
Thank you.
Any closing words y'all would like to give us?
Well, again, you know, the constant theme when they developed the West Bay Sector Plan 10 years ago, from the leaders of our county and the visionaries of our county, and they had dozens of public meetings about this. They contacted special interest group and got their opinions, and the constant theme over and over again was protect the bay, protect Crooked Creek. Preservation.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and again, that's the beauty of West Bay and East Bay and all. You know, it's been able to stay preserved, and you can still have buildings and all, you know, away from the shoreline and in different ways, and they've done some responsible development in areas. But there's a point in time where you know you got to stay away. This doesn't look good. No,
and again, the plan calls for more access on West Bay, but it doesn't call for the access on Crooked Creek.
Yeah. And it's the last creek. It's sort of, I remember the book, The Last of the Mohicans. This is sort of the last of our creeks right here. And,
the last pure creek in our bay system.
Yeah. And I feel strong about it. And I again, appreciate y'all coming on, folks. It's not over yet, right?
No, far from over. Okay. They haven't. We haven't gone to DEP for permitting. The ERP for permit. I mean, this is far from over. They did vote on it, but you know, one time they voted to put a fire station at West Bay also, and they looked at the cost factors and said this doesn't make any sense. So the county commissioners have not been presented with the costs, and I think when they find out what the costs are, they might say, whoa, wait a minute, let's step back from this. So this is far from over.
Okay, all right. Well, thank y'all for coming on, folks. Y'all stay tuned. We'll come back with our famous Friday fishing forecast. All right. Okay, welcome back, folks. I had to scramble over here and get it set up. Jeff works really good with me, and we're getting ready for our famous Friday fishing forecast, and it's brought to us by Tarpon Dock Seafood. Now, I want to apologize. I didn't get. We had a whole wad of names, and I usually draw on Friday. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to draw on Monday. Okay, so we're still going to do one on Monday and Friday. We'll still get two in. A lot of y'all are sending in your names and all, and doing a great job. And we're going to talk about that on Monday and do a draw. And I just didn't, with everything going on this morning, I just haven't had time to get set up and doing all of it. But Tarpon Dock Seafood, any kind of fresh seafood you need, to run by and see those folks there. Now the fishing forecast, you know, this is January. A lot of folks are hunting and all, out in the woods hunting and all, but we're still getting some good fishing reports. You saw those pictures earlier of those big trout, and that's a theme going along all Choctawhatchee Bay, St. Andrew Bay, Apalachicola Bay, and even in Carabel. The big trout are now being caught, and you really catch a big trout, not on live bait, but you catch a big trout on some kind of artificial bait, whether it be an artificial shrimp or some kind of a sinking swimming bait or some kind of large plug. But the large trout now being caught up in these feeder creeks and all of the bay system. So let's start down over here in Apalachicola. Again, we talk about, we fish these feeder creeks right there in the center, right in there. Those feeder creeks, there's excellent creeks. And I'm going to, a lot of people ask, what's the names of all those places? I'm going to bring you the old hunting and fishing map from 1948 and show you this maybe one day next week and all. But these feeder creeks here are excellent. Now, you're going to catch a lot. You're going to catch a lot of smaller trout, but you're also going to catch some gator trout if you're patient and get in there at a good time when they're moving around. Back again on the backside of I always talk about the backside of St. Vincent Island, because the reason I do, because so many good oyster bars in here and such excellent fishing. Some redfish reports have been brought in, some really nice redfish being caught right up in here and down through the pass here. The pass fishing, with these strong tides we've had, this pass fishing has been excellent. And over here in the St. George Island Pass, and also over here in our local pass. But now let's go up here to St. Joe Bay. The big fish, again, are being headed up in here into the little canal. And also over here at the state park, the waders have caught some fish there. Of course, the big story would be whiting. Steady catch of whiting in January and February is excellent whiting fishing. January probably the best month of the year, December and January, for catching whiting. Now, East Bay, the reports on the East Bay has been excellent on large speckled trout. Some really nice large speckled trout caught up in Sandy Creek, the Sandy Creek area right up in here. Let's see, there's Sandy Creek right up in here. Folks have been fishing out there. Callaway Bayou has produced some nice speckled trout, but and also on the Tyndall side, right across here, over in here, been some nice speckled trout caught. We're talking more about speckled trout on this report than we have than we do in redfish and all. Okay, go to the pass. I want to show the pass one time because we had some great pictures sent to us by different viewers of the redfish being caught in the pass. It was just an excellent winter break there between Christmas and New Year's, and even this past weekend, some excellent big bull reds caught and released here. Okay. Also offshore, now I would mention black sea bass have been the choice of offshore black sea bass. Now, we just talked about North Bay and West Bay. Our hunters, our duck hunters, we're talking about, they've really got a lot of these redhead ducks. I showed you the pictures here. These boys have been taking these redheads right up in here. Fishermen, they're up here sheephead fishing up at a dam. I've seen a lot of fishermen up here at a Deer Point Dam, and I know they're catching a lot of sheephead up in here. Back over here, going to our creeks now. Our main feeder creeks in the West Bay, of course, is Burnt Mill Creek and Crooked Creek. Burnt Mill Creek has produced excellent catches, as has Crooked Creek, and right here the mouth of the canal, and also the sheephead bite right in here. I'll move over a little bit so we can see. The sheephead bite has been excellent here by the bridge. Okay, so been really good fishing. Now I'm going over to. Let's go back. I missed Mexico Beach. I'm just sort of going to read you what Captain Mitch Coleman sent from Mexico Beach, because he did an excellent report. He said the water temperature is 60 degrees. Might be going up. So I said a 61 here, 60 there. So that's pretty close. Schools of redfish in the 10 to 20 pound class, holding around bay markers, and be called an artificial or fresh dead chunks of ladyfish. Now that's something we don't talk about a lot. Catching more ladyfish, the little chunks of them. Also, the black sea bass are more active as water. They're catching a lot of black sea bass. Really good eating of black sea bass. Being caught along with nice-sized white snappers in the carp bodies in about 50 or 60 foot of water. What we call the carp bodies are an excellent way to fish over there. So it's really good fishing there. And for those fish, you want to use cut squid or shrimp-colored those little fish bites on a dropper rig right there. So that's a good report from Mexico Beach. I want to thank Captain Mitch Coleman for sending that. Overall, just looking back at all of this, in Choctawhatchee Bay, I didn't quite get over to Choctawhatchee Bay. The reports on Choctawhatchee Bay real quick in Walton County, and I left this out here. Pompano being caught over in Choctawhatchee Bay, and also, we talked about it earlier, Bobby Graham reported some nice pompano catches off the pier this past week. So what that is, just school of pompano coming through, and people being there at the right place at the right time. And speaking of doing that, this weekend now, you get to try to be in the right place at the right time. I've run out of time. Thank you all so much for watching the show. Have a great weekend. Do something good, and God bless.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.